Welcome to Marketecture, where you can get smart fast with in-depth interviews of leading technology vendors. I'm Mike Shields. I'm here with Josh Lee. He's the CTO and head of product at EDO. Hey, Josh, thanks for being here.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me. Really excited for the conversation.
Same. So you are a relatively new company in this world. So I think let's just start from the top with the big questions. What does your company do?
Yeah. So EDO, we started back in 2015. When we first started, we were very focused on bringing data science to the media and entertainment industry. And actually, our first product offering was a product called Big Data Box Office, which is a movie forecasting and prediction engine. And so we've always had in our DNA wanting to unlock the power of data for the entertainment media industry. Fast forward to today, what we do is we actually help marketers essentially know what works. And what that means for us is to provide granular reporting on all the levers that an advertiser has available to them, whether that be audience, media, and creative, and essentially do more of what's working and do less of what's not working.
So you didn't necessarily start in the marketing world. How did you end up going in this direction versus maybe sticking with Hollywood or other predictive areas?
Well, it really started with a fundamental belief in using behaviors in order to predict future outcomes. So the way we like to say it is focus on what people do, not what people say are they're going to do. And that was always at the heart of EDO. And that's actually how we built our original box office prediction engine. It was based off of signals of search and site visitation. And so we would track the relative amounts of search and site visitation for a new movie coming out. And then we would use that as the basis of prediction. And how that translated to our focus on marketing is when we rolled out that product and after we got adoption, we were telling our clients at the time, we were predicting how well they were going to do and we were doing it very accurately. But then the natural question is, how can I do better? What are the big levers that I can pull? And so obviously one of the natural levers is their marketing campaign. And within their marketing campaign, oftentimes the biggest part of their budget was their TV. And so that's when our clients pushed us to take that same set of behavioral outcome data, but let's get much more granular and let's relate it to their TV marketing campaigns. And that's how we ultimately evolved into the product offering that we have today.
It was born out of movie companies trying to figure out, okay, you're trying to help me figure out how we're going to do this weekend. But they're also some of the biggest advertisers, help us figure out if we're spending that money well and getting the right people that will actually translate to moviegoers, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. With the underlying thesis of, again, behavioral outcomes. And when we talk about behavioral outcomes, we like to focus on a particular part of the funnel, which is the mid funnel. So looking at signals like search in particular, that's always been a huge focus of our product. And also one of the things that makes us different is our focus on search. But we also are able to add other outcomes to our platform, including site visitation as an example.
Again, I want to get into specifics about the current product, but just to bring this home, obviously the movie companies were tracking, doing surveys for a long time, trying to figure out, okay, there's a really good buzz for this show, or everyone's excited about whatever movie. What were you doing specifically? Was it pulling together different data sets they weren't using? Because I'm sure they looked up site visitations and things like that. Like, what were they not doing that you were doing differently?
Right. Well, it was, I think, two things. And it's actually one of the other strengths of our platform today is we're pulling in what we call fully syndicated data sets. So fully syndicated data sets essentially means data that EDO, we're able to collect on our own. It's not first party data that we require getting it from a client. It's just data that we can go out and get on our own and use for anyone's benefit. So we're able to collect that data across every single movie over, the past several years of movies at that time. And so essentially what that gives you is that gives you really great historical and competitive coverage that allows you to build data science models in order to do the actual prediction.
So that was not new data, right? You're not going out and doing a new survey or collecting new stuff. That you're pulling together pieces that were out there already and making sense of them in a way that wasn't being done?
Exactly. We're going out there, we're pulling in census level views of search, census level views of site visitation, ways that we are able to access the data and collect that data on our own. The other unique thing that we add is pairing that with advanced data science models to make sense of all of that data and actually train a model based off the historical box office results in order to predict, the future result.
Okay. So in terms of applying that thinking to movie marketing and then eventually more different advertising categories, how is this different again than what was being done historically? Because it presumably meant, most advertisers have tools that helps them calculate we are going to reach X amount of people in our core demographic and we'll figure it out and we'll get enough, we'll be able to tie whatever our spending level is to sales or visitations or whatever it is. What was not being done that you were able to apply to this business?
Yeah. So I think the first was having a product which was always on and measuring the effectiveness of the entire TV spend. And so the way we've done that is we've basically built this system that records all of TV, parses out the ad logs, and that gives us ad occurrence data for the entire advertising landscape. And then we're pairing that with census level data on search. And essentially what that gives you is for every single individual ad airing on TV, you essentially have a behavioral impact score, right? You have an understanding of how much this individual ad airing increased the impact for me as a brand as seen by somebody's search activity.
Okay.
And then when you have that really granular data, you can roll that up in all these different ways. And that's when we start to do roll-ups by media, roll-ups by creative, roll-ups by audience. And I think it was the fact that, number one, we're using mid-funnel behaviors like search as the outcome metric that we're taking, which has a bunch of properties that we can go into. And then number two, we're doing it in a fully syndicated way, which means that we're able to provide these insights not only for your brand, but also for your competitors as well. And it's all being done in an always on way. So there's kind of no setup needed or no data we need to ingest from the client.
Okay. So I want to get into your customers and where you are at the moment, but where is the data coming from? Because again, there are lots of sources of when brands plan campaigns, they get a report, usually or a proposed schedule, or they can get some real-time data from companies that have ACR access, and they can look at those search results. Like, where's the data coming specifically that you're using to get this mid-funnel look that you're talking about?
Yep. So a couple of buckets. I can start on the outcome side. Mm-hmm. So on the outcome side, we have a signal that we call search engagement. Search engagement is a minute-by-minute signal of search that we track for every branded product that's advertising on TV. And the main source of that data is coming from Google. Okay. We also work with a behavioral panel, and it's a opt-in behavioral panel of 250,000 individuals. And it's not a panel that we maintain, but it's a partner that we license data from. And for those individuals, we're seeing their entire search and site visit history.
Who is that company that you're partnering with?
We're actually not allowed to share the name of that company as part of the contract.
Is it one of the existing TV research companies that we would know, or not necessarily?
It's a dedicated behavioral panel where there's, somebody signs up for the panel. There's a clear value exchange of what they get in kind of signing up for the panel, and then, what data that you're sharing.
Got it.
Thanks for listening. To hear the complete interview, subscribe at marketecture.tv.